Vasishtha Samhita today. Okay. So before starting, I think it will be better. First of all, we can just do 3 times of Om chanting. That is gonna increase our concentration on the practice. Okay. Just close your eyes, sit comfortably, and 3 times we are gonna do Om chanting. Slowly, you can rub your palms, apply on the eyes, and open your eyes. Let me confirm if my screen is visible to everyone. Am I audible and
Yes,
visible to everyone?
yes, ma'am.
Okay, okay. And one thing is also there. If you guys get any doubt or anything you want to ask, you can ask me after the last of the class, after the end of the class, okay? So just keep pointing out all of your doubts one by one. Okay, so we are going to start Vasishtha Samhita. As the name suggests, Vasisht means there is a Rishi, Vasisht. He is in a conversation with his son, whose name is Shakti, and the whole conversation is recorded as Vasishtha Samhita. Okay, but the original text of Vasishtha Samhita is in different forms. Is like it's in Vrihat Vrit Samhita, Vasishtha Samhita. That is a different text. But in the yogic context, that is also known as Yog Kand or Vasishtha Samhita. Both are same. When you go through the book of Vasishtha Samhita, you will find out there are 8 chapters in the original text. But when you go more deeper, there are 2 chapters from these 8 which are related to astrology and astronomy. So we are not going to study these 2 chapters because these are not related to the concept of yoga. Okay, that's why we are going to study only the 6 chapters which are related to yoga and which comes under the category of your syllabus. These 2 chapters will be excluded from the Yoga Kand of Vasishtha Samhita. And as I said in the starting, that this whole text is a type of conversation is between Shakti, who is the son of Brahm Rishi Vasisht, and the father, who is also the guru of Shakti. Okay, so these 2 persons are talking about something, are discussing something about the knowledge. What is knowledge? How the knowledge we can get, and all these things are described in this one text, which is known as Vasishtha Samhita. So overall, if you see, there will be 6 chapters. First chapter will be containing 84 verses. Chapter 2 will be containing 69 verse. Chapter 3 will be having 75 verse. Okay. In the same way, chapter 4 will be having 73. Chapter 5 will be having 555. Chapter 6 will be having 61. And chapter 7 and 8, just for your general introduction, they will be having 75 and 44 verses. For chapter 1, when you will go through, as we said, that this is a conversation between 2 people. So we must need a topic to start the conversation. In the similar way, there will be a question in the starting, and that question was put up from the Shakti, that he wants to know about something. So he is pleading in front of his guru, in front of his father, for something he wants to know. So the thing which Shakti wants to know is about what is knowledge, what actually the knowledge is. Okay. And then the Vasisht Guru will be giving answer according to the Vedokt Karma. Vedokt Karma are those processes which you have to do and which are mentioned in Vedas. Okay. So that's why the Hindi name or Sanskrit name is known as Vedokt. Ved means described in Vedas. Ukt means which is said in Vedas. Okay. So there will be some karmas which you have to do according to Vedas, which you have to do, which you not have to do. Okay. Then third thing which will be described in chapter 1 is Ashtang Yoga. And as we all know, the Ashtang Yoga is a term also mentioned in Patanjali Yoga Sutra. It is considering eightfold steps of yoga process: yam, niyam, asan, pranayam, pratyahar, dharana, dhyan, samadhi. And all the eight are mentioned as such there similarly in Vasishtha Samhita. But there are some differences. When you go through Patanjali, the yamas mentioned there are only five, right? Niyamas mentioned there are only five. But when you comes to Vashistha Samhita, there will be 10 yamas, 10 niyamas, and 10 asanas. Whereas in the form of Patanjali Yoga Sutra, you don't find any description of which asanas you have to do. If you go into the Bhashya especially, then you will find out some of the asanas in Patanjali. Okay. Then last topic which you have to study in chapter 1 is after practicing asana and before jumping into the other practice, because yam niyam asana are done, then you have to practice pranayam. Before practicing pranayam, there is one thing said that your nadis must have to be pure before practicing pranayam. Otherwise, what you can do is, what you can get in your body is, the impurification will lead into your body through your nadis if your nadis are impure itself. Okay. So before practicing pranayam, there is a concept induced in Vasishtha Samhita which is about the nadis. So that much context is of chapter number 1. This is just a general introduction what you are going to study in the whole text. Okay. So this is important to learn, because many of the times when you get the question in exam is like, which chapter is telling about the niyamas in Vasishtha Samhita. Like these type of questions can come into the exam. Okay. So when you go through the chapterization, that what context is in chapter 1, what context is in chapter 2, chapter 3, chapter 4, first thing, it will be easy for you to learn the things. Second thing, it will be very, very helpful to get all things in one pane. Okay. In one plane. When you learn like this, like making the charts and making the tables. Okay. So after getting one little bit introduction of the need for purification of nadis, obviously, if some people will tell you that you must have to purify your nadi before practicing other step, before going into the other step. So your next question will be actually what nadis are, how we can pure it, and what is the process. So that was the same question of Shakti in the starting of chapter number 2. Okay. It is like you can put yourself in the place of Shakti and you can become completely non-aware about the processes of yoga. So what will be your questions about the knowledge? The same questions was put up from Shakti in front of the Vasist. Okay. Is there any problem? Someone is asking something? Anyone is asking something? I am getting the voice of some people. Okay. So when we are talking about the chapter number 2, there will be the starting from this question. And the question is that, what is the method for purification of nadis? But before purification, we must have to understand what is the origin of nadis. And then there will come a subject matter of term which is kand. Okay. And that kand is actually what? The place from where the nadis are originating. So there will be the description of kand, then the description of vayus. 10 types of vayus will be there, which is pran, apan, samanudan, like these type of names will come. And what are the places of these vayus in your physical body? Okay. Like which type of vayu is existing lower than the navel point, which type of vayu is existing for the upper movements of your body, for the breathing of your body, for the digestion of your body. So different compartments are subsiding for different vayus. Then there will be the answer given by Vasist, in which he will be pointing out this human body according to the yoga point of view. Because when we are learning anatomy, as you are going to learn after this class, you will see in the scientific field, human body is dissecting, okay, and we are understanding the procedure of human body by dissecting it. So we will go from the broad to the minor. Like there is a huge body, it will be divided into, it will be made up with some type of organs. Organs are made up with muscles. Muscles are made up with more less than cells, and cells are made up with chemicals. This is the process of dissection in anatomy. But when you learn how the human body is made up from the yoga point of view, there will come the concept of kand, there will come the concept of nadis, there will come the concept of vayu, and a term which is deh madhya.
क्या ना हो गया इतना मोटा, पता है?
I think
बोलता
someone's
अपने आप
mic
जा
is
रहा हूँ
on.
कल
Can you please
निकलवाने
check?
के लिए, ऑपरेशन बोला। मैंने बोला उत्सव को बोलो, उत्सव जाएगा साथ में।
Please अपना mic off रखिए, please. So there will be the concept of deh madhya, kand, nadis, vayus, and their locations in the human body. And then there will be the technique described by Vasist in the chapter number 2. And in the last, there will be symptoms of Nadi Shodhan. It means when some person, how will we judge that the Nadis are pure now and now you can practice pranayam? That symptoms are also mentioned there in Vasist Samhita. These type of symptoms are also mentioned in Hatha Yoga also. Okay. Then chapter 3 will be going further, which will be describing pranayam, and there is a special type of pranayam and the name is pranavatmak pranayam. There comes a term pranav. Pranav means the one which we have chanted in the starting of the class, Om. And the Om has been constituted with A, U, and Ma. These three A, U, Ma, when are chanted with the breath, when are chanted with the Bij mantras, then this is known as Pranavatmak Pranayam. We will go through this in detail when we go to the chapter number 3. Then the description of Pranav, which I just discussed right now, 3. After that, the process and types of pranayam will come. Pratyahar description will come. And there is very special thing, vital points, which are 18 vital points, which we also known as Marmisthan in the body. They will come in this text of Vashistha Samhita with their scientific location. It means when you are studying in anatomy, what locations are there in your body, you can connect these vital points to your physical anatomical body. Okay. Then the chapter number 4 will be starting with the definition of dharana. Okay. And there is one more thing. When we study in Yoga Sutra, the first 5 from the 8 steps, they comes into the external practices. Okay. And only the last 3, dharana, dhyan, and samadhi, they come under the internal, antarang yoga. But in Vasishtha Samhita, only the starting 4, yam, niyam, asana, and pranayam, they comes under the external, and pratyahar, dharana, dhyan, samadhi, they 4 comes under the internal processes of yoga, internal practices of yoga, which in Hindi we known as abhyantar or antarang. Okay. So 4th chapter will be about all about the definition of dharana, then what dharana is and how we have to practice it on the 5 elements. 5 elements are Prithvi, Akash, Vayu, Agni, Jal. Okay, like these 5 elements, we have to practice the dharana on these 5. And with these 5 elements, there are some varn, devta, timings, all are decided. So we are going through in which element we have to practice dharana for how many time, with which type of color, with which type of devta. Okay. Then after practicing dharana, there will come the subject context of dhyan. Dhyan will be of 2 type in Vasishtha Samhita. One is of Sagun Dhyan, then second one is of Nirgun Dhyan. From Sagun and Nirgun Dhyan, the Sagun Dhyan will again be having some types. Okay. And in the last of chapter 4, there will be the context of Samadhi. In up to the chapter 4, the Samadhi has been described by the Maharishi Vasishtha. Okay. In 5th and 6th chapter, there will be some extra things which you need to learn if you are practicing yoga. Okay, because when you are going to understand samadhi, there comes something about which is not physical, because samadhi is not of physical body. Samadhi is of your chetana, your consciousness, your atma. So when there comes a term under the explanation of samadhi, that who is going to attain samadhi, then you must have to learn what atman is, what atma is, what is your soul, what is the consciousness. Okay, so the same question was put up by Shakti in chapter number 5, and the question is, what is the nature of Atma and what is the time of death? How can we see the indicators of death? That if some person is going to die, how can we judge that? If that person is going to die in 1 day, 2 day, 3 day, 10 days, 1 month, 6 months, okay, that is described in Vashistha Samhita. After that, the concept of Atma and Jeev, the both are described as an answer from the Vasist, in which he have described the thing from starting. Because see, whenever as a student you are asking a question from a teacher, if your question is what is Atma, the teacher will start explaining you from the base. He will not go directly what Atma is, because you will not get the context of Atma. You have to make the students understand what is the base of Atma. So first you will go for the what is universe, how the Jeev is made up from universe, how the Jeev ends, and then you are going to understand the concept of Atma. Okay, so the same was done by Maharishi Vasist. He explained first what the universe is and how many variations of universe can be there, five folds of universe can be there. Okay, then he described the states of Jeev. Jeev is basically that human being who is present, who is alive. Okay, so there are four states of that Jeev. Then he has been defined, he was defining the signs of death, then numeration of death, all the things which Shakti asked one by one. Vasist is going to answer every question one by one. In the last, Vasist is giving one more extra context of rashis, which we are seeing in Jyotish Vidya. Okay, 12 type of rashis are there, and the same is described in Vashistha Samhita. After that, chapter number of 5, the 6th and 7th chapter is related to astrology and astronomy, which is skipped due to the Yog Kant we are studying. Okay, so the chapter number 8 has become chapter number 6 in the latest edition of Yog Kant. Okay, so in the last, this chapter number 6 will be having some context of how we can overcome the timing of death, because in the last chapter it has been described that if there is Atma is uh, never going to die. Okay, who is going to die? The body is going to die. So how one can overcome the timing of that death? And the actual word is the kal of death. Okay, so there will be the next question of Shakti, how to overcome the kal of death. And the answer again will be given by Vasist, that he is telling him, if you know that your death is coming and you are doing some things to let that time come, you are practicing some things, you can delay the timing of death. Okay, so he is telling the answer as remaining calm and performing your duties even after you know that you are going to die. That is the answer given by Vasist. And how he can, or the person who is asking the question, how she or he can overcome the timing of death, there are three things defined. One is Tarak Mantra, second is meditation on Narayan, and third one is the practice of Samadhi. That is the whole context of Vasisht Samhita, which we are going to study in the upcoming classes. And as I said, two chapters which are excluded. You can just go for only the introduction, that these two chapters are related to astrology and astronomy. And there are 75 and 44 verses in these two chapters. We don't have to go deeper in that. Okay. So let us start. Little bit idea of the chapter 1. As I said in the starting, that chapter 1 has been started with the question of Shakti about knowledge, right? But uh, see yourself as Shakti. When you are asking your teacher or your guru any question for the very first time, what you are going to do is first you will bow down in front of him as he is very great. Okay. Nowadays it's not the culture, we just go in front of the teacher and ask directly, but in the time of Gurukula that was not the culture. Before asking any question, the students were very pleaded to the guru, they are admiring the guru. So the verse 1 to verse 5 are describing here the admiration of Shakti for his guru Vashistha. Okay, and these 5 verses are something like this: Vasistam Vagvidam Shreshtam Trikalagyam Anuttamam Sarvashastrartha Tatvajnam Yogeshu Parinishtitam. It means he is telling that, hey Vasisth, you are the one who knows the past, who knows the present, who knows the future. You have the knowledge of every field. You are keenly devoted to yoga. Then he is saying that Sarvabhutitam Shantam Satyasandham Gatklamam Gunagya Sarvabhuteshu Pararthek Prayojanam. It means he is telling that you are very calm, you are true, your words are true, you are just know, you are just the knower in among all the human beings, and you are always working for the well-beings of other. Can you see, the son is admiring his father that, hey Vasishtha, you are like this, and then he is bowing down in, as you can see in the last, he is telling that pranamya dandvad bhumo, and these 3 words are very similar to the Hindi. Pranamya means pranam, dandvat means like we do Ashtang Namaskar, Dandvat Pranam. Okay. Bhumo means the Bhumi, the earth. So Pranamya Dandvat Bhumo means he is lying down on the floor in front of Vasist, and he is telling that you are Mahakarunikam Muni. You are very sympathetic. You have so many empathies with so many peoples. And then he is asking, Papracham Pitram Shakti. Papracham. Pracham means the prashna, the question. Then he is asking his father, Pitram means father. Shakti is asking his father that, hey, Guru, hey, father, I wants to ask you something with folded hands, with very gratitude feeling. Okay. So with verse 1 to verse 5, the son is admiring his Guru, his father, with all the knowledge he have about his own father. Okay, so he's explaining the qualities of Vasisht from first to fifth. So you can just go, if you are comfortable with, you can go through the reading of verse, or if you are not comfortable with reading the verse, you can directly go what is the context of that verse. Okay, that PDF you will get after the class. After these 5 verses, the 6th and 7th verse is actually that in which Shakti has asked the question. And what question actually is it? You can read out like this. He has asked, "O Lord, I know that you have the knowledge of all sciences, you have the knowledge of all universe, which are ever inclined for the good of all well-beings or people. So please, I am bowing down in front of you that I am no one. I know nothing, but I wants to know. So how is it possible for an ignorant person like me to acquire that knowledge which you have? Okay, that is hidden there, which you have, because he is admiring his father before that you have that much of knowledge, and he is feeling, Shakti is feeling himself like, I am no one, I don't have any knowledge. So he is just saying, like completely dedicating to his father that, hey father, hey Lord, hey Guru, just tell me how an ignorant person like me can acquire this knowledge. Which knowledge he is asking about? That knowledge which, after which, through which he can liberate himself from this miseryous world. Okay, so all the context is there for asking about the knowledge, which knowledge can make you out from all the chakra of this karmas. Okay, which knowledge can make you out from the cycle of birth and rebirth, death and birth, death and birth, again and again and again. Okay, so 6th and 7th verse is mainly about the question of Shakti, and you can keep this in mind, what is the question of Shakti. Okay, Then 8th to 10th verse will be giving the context of reaction of Guru Vasisht on this question of Shakti. Because what is happening as a teacher, you can feel that when some student is asking you any question, you are not giving the answer directly. You will have some things in your mind that how can this uh, child, how can this student ask this depth of question with me? Okay, if he is asking, is he compassionate about it or not? If he is asking, is he really dedicated to know the knowledge, or is he asking just for checking what my knowledge is? Okay, so in the same manner, the Vasisht Guru, when he listened from the son that he is asking that much deep question, he looked him very compassionately. Okay, and then he replied. What he replied is, Uttishto tishtham bhadram te shakte buddhimatam varam vakshyami sukhdam nityam upaye bhavanashanam. It means that among all the intellectuals, just you have, what you have to do is rise up and be ready, because you may be blessed with all the well-beings, because I am going to tell you the easiest and eternal means for this transmigration, for this change, for this liberation. Okay, so Vasist is just making comfortable his student that with all the intellectuals you have, with all the intellect you have, just be ready, because I am going to give you the bombardment of knowledge, and you can keep it with you. Okay, it is like a notice before the class that keep your copies and pens with you, and whatever you feel important, you can write it down, because those things which you learn in between the class, these are never mentioned in the presentation. Okay, so in the same way, ninth verse Vasist explained that please be ready with all your intellects, with all your mind present there in my words. Okay, after telling all these, Vasist is going to uh, tell him that, do you know, the question you are asking to me is the same question I asked to my Guru. Okay, and before telling him that, he is telling that uh, almost the knowers of Brahma, you must have to know who Brahma is. You must have to pray Lord Narayan, who actually is dwelling in the heart of every being. It means before going into practice, like when we are doing asana practice, pranayam practice, before doing any type of practice, we have such type of prayers. So Vasistha, is praying from his side to the Lord Narayan, to the Brahma, from whom he get the knowledge. Okay, then in the next context, Vasist is giving introduction of the Lord, who the Lord is. Okay, and then he said, I will explain you the immaculate Lord, who is actually the source of universe, who is ideal of all yogis, who is faultless, ageless, and who is permanent, and who is having supreme bliss, who is in the condition of supreme bliss. Okay, so after that, Maharishi Vasist, he is bowing down himself to Rishikesh. Rishikesh is again a second name of Narayan. Okay, Narayan or Brahma. So because Maharishi Vasist get the knowledge from his guru, so he is bowing down internally in front of his guru that, hey Lord, the words which you have told me, which you have told me, with well balanced mind, I am going to tell all these things without any mixture to my student. So give me that word, give me the blessing, so that I can proceed the correct knowledge. Because what is happening, when we are getting the knowledge and when we are proceeding the knowledge, when we are getting the knowledge as a student, when we are proceeding the knowledge as a teacher, there comes so much of the difference. And so many times where we don't have the clarity of any concept, when we are proceeding it as a teacher, we give some mistakes to the students. Okay, so in the same manner, Maharishi Vasist, even though if he is so great, he is bowing down in front of his own guru internally, consciously, that please give me the blessing so that I can proceed the correct knowledge in front of the student, Shakti. Okay. And with this bowing down, Vasisth again see compassionately in the eyes of Shakti and starting the answer actually. Okay. So he said that, O disciple, you are most welcome because you are asking me that question which I asked for my salvation from my Guru. So listen to the words very, very carefully. Okay. After that, the story and the question of Vasist is started. That what he asked from his Guru, what Vasist asked from his Guru Brahma, what Brahma gives answer to Vasist, all this is mentioned in between 14th to 18th verse. What is that? Just read it like a story, just listen it like a story. So it will be easy to let it learn. Okay. He is telling that I visited Brahma, who was blissfully sitting on the lotus seat. And these minute details are important for the exam. Kindly go through this, okay? See, if you go for the verse, you can see this Padmasane, Sukhasinam. Okay? If you just divide the word, break down the word, you are going to understand the meaning of it. Padmasan. Padmasan is a type of asana which we are practicing, right? Sukhasinam. But this Padma is also having one more meaning, which is the lotus flower. Okay. And Vasishtha is describing whom? The Brahma. Brahma is sitting on the lotus flower. So in this context, Padmasan means the sitting location. Who Brahma is sitting over the lotus flower. Okay. Sukhasinam. Sukhasinam means blissfully. He is very, very blissful. Chaturanan. Chaturanan means he is having four eyes. Okay. Chara Charanam. Srishtaram Brahmanam Parmeshwaram. It means he is now describing how the Brahma is looking like. How the Brahma was there in front of Vashist when he was going there to ask the question. Okay. Kadachitram gatva aham stutva stotre pranamya cha. Kadachitram. It means somehow when I am gatvam, going there. Stutvam, stuti means again the same process, bowing in front of the Guru. Okay. Stotre pranamyam cha means bowing down in front of my Guru. Okay. So he is again describing the same thing. I visited Brahma, who was blissfully sitting on the lotus seat. He is four-faced, impressible, creator of all animate and inanimate creations and supreme master. All the description of Brahma is given in between 14 and 15 verse. So kindly note down this. That can be a question. Okay. That can become a question. That in Vasisht Samhita, which verse described the Brahma? Which verse is there describing the Brahma? And you can get the options like 1/14, 1/15, 2/14, 2/15. 2 will be the chapter number and the again front one is the verse number. So you can keep this in mind. Then there will be the next thing that he is asking, oh Lord, of all deities, all the other deities who are there, you are the Lord of all these deities who are present in this universe. You are having four excellent faces, and these four excellent faces are somehow connected with four karmas, four dharmas, which are described in Bhagavad Gita. So Vasishtha is asking that I am confused little bit by different scriptures. There are so many scriptures which I am reading, and when I am going through reading, I am confused. That is why I wander hither and thither. That is why I am wandering for the truth, what actually is true. Like if you go for the reading of Patanjali Yoga Sutra nowadays, you are going to see so many editions. There is one book of Gita Press, which is very little book. If you go through that, the explanations are different. If you go for the for the different writers, you are going to see the different meanings. And if you go for the English translation, your mind will be blown out. You will be so much confused because in the English translations there are not confirmed words for that. that what chit is, what chetna is, what different kinds of things are. And the English translators have mentioned all the things with one thing, which is mind. But mind is not chitta. Mind is not, mind cannot be chitta and chetna together. But they are describing it as a mind whole. Okay. So in the same way, it may be possible during the time of Vasisth, there are some scriptures, he was reading that and he was confused with that. That is why he is asking that I am wandering from a very long time here and there. I am in search of the truth. Kindly tell me the truth. And here comes the next verse, which he is saying, I request you very, very dedicatedly to tell me how can I reach to that supreme state which is blissful. Okay. And that blissful state is very, very new and mysterious, what I know about it. So kindly tell me this. And then the Vasistha is telling to his son that when I asked all these things to Brahma, he started telling me the existence, how it works, how it comes into the universe, who is actually the leader of universe. He was very, very pleased and satisfied with my convincing. Okay. Because as a teacher, if one student is asking something just for making the fun of the teacher will choose to not answer the question. But if some student is asking the question in different manners again and again and very dedicatedly, then for sure teacher is going to tell him the true knowledge. In the same way, Brahma is going to tell, Brahma, who is actually the leader of universe, okay, he was completely satisfied and well pleased with Vasishtha's asking the question. So now there comes the answer of that question which was asked by Vasishtha, and the answer was given by Brahma. Okay. So you can get this in your mind that actually the question was asked by the son Shakti. But when he asked to Vasishtha, Vasishtha is telling him his own story that during my times, like in today's time, when we are telling our struggling things to our parents, they are telling their struggling things to us. Okay. In the same way, Vasishtha is telling the struggle which he have gone through when he asked the same thing from Brahma. So what Brahma is telling? Brahma is telling that the knowledge can come to you with the help of twofold path of actions. When you are going through twofold path of actions, you can get through the knowledge. So if there comes one new thing, first we are going to learn the explanation of these twofold paths. What are these twofold paths? Of karmas, of actions. One is pravartak, one is nivratak. Pravartak is those which are motivating, and nivratak is those which are liberating. For understanding these two, let us go in the definition. And these bracket things are the number of verses which are explaining this, okay, in which you can see this. So the verse number 20 is explaining the definition, what the pravartak karmas or what the pravartak actions are. And the explanation is somehow like this. When the performance of any actions by any person in any of the varna and any of the ashram with desire. So we must have to keep in mind when we are talking about motivating, we need some desires for the motivation, because we must have to have some goal na, for keep us motivated. Like we are preparing for JRF or NET, we have a goal. That's why we are learning in the classes online. Okay. In the same way, if we are having some desire, and these desire can come into any of the person, that person can belong to any ashram or any varna. Okay. And the ashram is not the different type of ashrams which we see right now in nowadays. These ashrams are four ashrams defined in Vedas, which are brahmacharya, grahastha, vanprastha, and sannyas. Okay. And these four varnas are the again same: Brahmin, Kshatriya, Vaishya, and Shudra. So we must have to keep this in our mind when we are talking about Varna and Ashram. We are talking about every person, because if you go, any people any people can belong to any of these two, right? If he is Brahmin, he can be Grahast, Vanprasth, Sannyas, or something, right? So the Pravartak is defined as Pravartak actions, motivating actions are defined as the actions by a person with desire, and that person can belong to any of the Varna and Ashram. And in the same verse, the verse number 20, it is explained that what is the benefit of these type of karmas, these type of actions. In the same verse, it is defined that if one person is doing these type of karmas, that karma will be going to motivate that person for the transmigration. It means if some person is doing karma yoga, suppose some person is kshatriya, like mentioned in Bhagavad Gita, Arjun was a kshatriya. So what Shri Krishna is trying to convince Arjuna is, you must have to do your own karma. Either it is of higher varna or lower varna, you must have to proceed your own karma. Okay. And if one person is choosing to do its own karma, if it's Vaishya, if it's Shudra, if it's Brahmin, you must not have to go for other person's karma. You must not have to be influenced with other person's karma. If you know that you are the best Kshatriya, then you have to fight when there comes a time of war. In the same way, if that person is doing their own karma, they can get through the process of transmigration, because these persons are practicing karma yoga, not knowingly, but they are practicing karma yoga. What karma yoga is saying, that you must have to do your karma, you must have to keep doing your karma, and all the dedication you have to put in your karma. And if you see some type of people who even don't believe in Ishwar or God, if they are so much dedicated to their work, their personality is so much attracting, their personality, their way of talking is so much attracting, and as same as a person who is very very spiritual, who is very very active, who is a brahmachari, or who is a sannyasi, these two people can be very very same, their thoughts can be very very same, their internal progression is same. So that's why it is said, when one person is doing these karmas even with a desire, they can get the process, they can get into the process of transmigration. After one stage, they are going to that stage that now we need something else, we have done the karmas, now there is something which is missing, and then they are promoted towards the nivartak karma. What is Nivratak? What is liberating? Where the same path of action. Which path of action? Including the Varna and Ashram. Okay, you must have to keep this in mind. So, Nivrata karmas are those in the same path of action, which is based on knowledge and benefit of all desires. It means when the desire will be no more. If one person is teaching and he is teaching, he has started or she has started teaching just for the money. But being a teacher, if they have a long time of teaching, like 8 years, 10 years, or 12 years, after that age of practicing teaching, they will lose the attention towards attaining the money. That is a natural process. And then they will have only the desire of teaching. They just want to teach what the knowledge they have. Okay. So that desire will automatically go out of them, out of their consciousness, when they are practicing the karma yoga for a very long time. But if some people have the knowledge prior to that 10 or 12 years of the practice of karma yoga, if they have the knowledge that what actually we have to do, what actually is correct, whom we have to go through, whom we want to ask, whom is actually giving us the energy to do all these things, if we have the correct knowledge, then we can practice these desireless actions before all these time of 10 or 12 years. Okay. So these nivritta karmas are actually done by the yogis, by the sannyasis, and by the gurus and rishis like the Vashistha Rishi. So what is the result? Again, the result is also told in the same verse. that if you are doing nivritta karma, you are doing the varn or ashram karmas according to you, with which are based on knowledge and which are uh, with no desires, then you will free yourself from the birth and death process, from the birth and rebirth. And the same is explained in Bhagavad Gita also. So these nivritta karmas again are described of two types in the verse number 23 and 24, and the verse number 22 is just the explanation of that there are two types of nivritta karmas. Okay, so 23 and 24 will be the definition of external nivritta karmas and internal nivritta. In Hindi we say is bahye and abhyantara. Okay, so these external liberating karmas are what? Which are with certain prescribed means, and whereas these internals which we are talking about is the one to observe what duties are there within the self with the means of intelligence. Again, the same thing is which is we have discussed there. It is described here in detail. Okay. And when we are talking about the internal, that is, if a person should carry out all the internal acts as obligatory duty. It means if you are going through the sadness, if you are going through the miseries of your life and you are blaming someone for that, it means you are not doing internal nivritta karmas. You know that what you are doing, you are getting negative comments for that, but still if you are doing it with positivity, then you are going to practice the internal nivritta karmas, because these things are your obligatory duty. It is something like this: if you know what is the correct meaning of Ishwar, what is the correct meaning of Guru, and you are going to teach this to a person who don't know it, who even don't want to know it, but you want that this person must have to be corrected in his life. You are telling him, he is giving you negative comments, you are telling him you are doing your own duty, obligatory duty, with these internal acts, that it is your responsibility to correct the people. Okay, no one is going to tell you that that is correct, that is wrong. So this, with this obligatory duty, a person should carry that responsibility of internal acts and do all the things consciously and devotedly, then he is going to attain the bliss. That is all mentioned in between the 19th to 27th of verse, when the Brahmrishi Vasishtha is explaining all about the starting of how we can go into the process of attaining the knowledge. And these are two type of karmas, so we can learn the same thing as making the same table. That will be a little bit easy to get it in the mind. Okay, after this we are going to study this in tomorrow's class, but I'll give you just one short brief what is the next thing. If you will see, 25 to 29 verse will again be the part of some story and the question of Shakti, because Vasishtha has explained some things. So there will be some questions of Shakti, who, which things he is not getting, that what is it, what is it. So there will be some questions and a little bit of a story from the Shakti side. And then the Vasishtha is going to explain the nature of actual knowledge. Okay. This is important, this nature of actual knowledge, which is right down in verse number 30. After that, if you will see, there comes the main context of our subject, which is the yoga. Okay, so upcoming things will be related to this Ashtang Yoga, which we have seen in the starting. And now if you see this question of Shakti and this Vedokta Karma, these Vedokta karma are which the Nivrittak and Pravartak karmas. Okay. After that, the third point will be Ashtang Yoga. It means now the Vasishtha, the answer will be somehow related to the Ashtang Yoga. Okay. So that is all about the introduction and little bit of chapter 1. So now if someone have any questions regarding to anything, they can ask.
Hello,
We
ma'am.
still have 5 minutes. Yes.
Ma'am, can you please explain the karma again? Like you said, the pravartak karma and nivartak karma. So,
Yes.
I want more like.
Okay. See, the Pravartak karmas are actually those where the desire is attached. Okay. And when the desire fades off from your karma, that will become nivritta karma. Again, that nivritta is of two types, external or internal. When you are doing that nivritta karma without desire for another person, for the society, for outer world, that is external nivritta karma. But when the same thing you are doing for your own self, that will be internal nivritta karma, which you feel that that thing is your responsibility and your duty, and then you are doing it. That will be known as internal nivritta karma, because that is not attached to desire. If you are doing that practice, if you are doing that thing, you don't want anything in return from that. Okay, so the desire is no way there, and you are taking this as your duty, because when we take something as our duty, it is the nature of a human being. When we say this is my duty, we become responsible for that, and we think that okay, whatever the result will be, I am okay with that, but I am going to do the same thing. Okay, so hence when the desire will be there, it is pravarta karma. When the desire will be fading off after the practice, then it will become nivritta karma. But if you have the knowledge prior to doing pravarta karmas, you can go to directly practice nivritta karmas. You can practice these things. Like the Patanjali is mentioning yama and niyama practices. Okay. You will not become non-violent instantly. You have to practice it again and again and again. Whenever you get the thought of violence, stop yourself internally. Whenever you get the thought of stealing something, stop the thought consciously. Then it will become your habit, and then you will be known as practicing the yamas and niyamas. In the same way, you will be known as practicing pravartak and nivratta karmas. Who asked that question?
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
Is it bit clear, Rashika?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, okay.
Thank
Is
you.
anybody having any more question?
No,
Okay,
ma'am.
okay. If you guys don't have any question, you will get the PDF after the class. Just keep all the readings, revise it before coming back in tomorrow's class. Okay, and then we will revise it first in a short manner, then we'll go further.
चलिए, बहुत बढ़िया आकांक्षा जी ने पढ़ाया। मैं पूरी क्लास इनकी ज्वाइन किया था। बहुत अच्छे ढंग से एक एक चीज को बहुत सूक्ष्मता से और बहुत अच्छे ढंग से समझा रही हैं, और खुद मुझे लगता है इन्होंने बहुत डीप स्टडी की है इस विषय की। बहुत बढ़िया।
थैंक यू सो मच सर।
हाँ,
सच में
और
बहुत अच्छा लगा सर।
पीपीटी आप लोग को ऐप के माध्यम से मिलेगी। आकांक्षा जी जो है प्राइवेटली वो हमारी टीम को भेज देंगे, और वहां से आपको ऐप में वो अपलोड हो जाएगी, पीपीटी वहां से
जी
मिलेगी।
जी जी।
और एक जो सूचना है आप लोग को कि एनाटॉमी फिजियोलॉजी की क्लास आप लोग की अभी कंटिन्यू है, तो 7 से 8 फिर आप एनाटॉमी फिजियोलॉजी की क्लास अटेंड करेंगे, ठीक है। और फिर जैसे 8 से 9 आप लोग का पेपर फर्स्ट, तो कंटिन्यू आपका 6 से 9 तक चलेगा इंग्लिश बैच वालों के लिए। और हिंदी बैच वालों का एक नई वहाँ शुरू हो रही है, 9 to 10 हिंदी बैच वालों के लिए है वो। चलिए, धन्यवाद।
Okay. Pranam to all and all the very best.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you so much, Ratan.
Thank you, ma'am.
Okay. Can I leave, sir?